Okay, I now call to order the City Council meeting of March 27th, 2023. The time is 7 p.m. Opening prayer, Father Nick from Holy Trinity.
Let us pray. Almighty God, our help and refuge, source of all wisdom and pillar of strength. You who in your inexpressible love visited mankind and bestowed your blessings upon all who entreated you. We know, Master, that without you, we are powerless. We firmly believe that apart from you, we can do nothing. We pray to you at this time, and we ask of you, send your grace upon this assembly and upon the members present, to enable them to complete the tasks which they are about to undertake. For your servants here have chosen, putting their trust in your strength, to gather and work for the good of this city. Bless them in all their undertakings. Protect them against all evil influences, and bestow upon them and all those who work here peace, love, concord, and justice. Grant to your servants abundant mercy and direct their steps to every good work. Help them to accomplish these tasks faithfully and diligently, so that the completion of their work may prove helpful to others and to ourselves, and that they may strive to bring glory to your name. For you are the God of mercy, compassion, and love for mankind. To you we give all glory and praise, together with your beginningless Father and your all holy, good, and life-creating Spirit, now and forever. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ben, would you please call the roll?
Member Orr?
Here.
Member Volt?
Here.
Member Stroya?
Here.
Member Warren?
Here.
Member McLeister?
Here.
Member Wyrick?
Here.
Member Matheny?
Here.
7 present.
Okay, can I have a motion and a second to approve as presented minutes from March 6th, 2023 Committee and Special Council and March 13th, 2023 Council and Committee meetings?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Abstain.
Motion carries. Okay, at this time, we'll have a special invitation or special invite, Randy Retzkowski. That's right.
Yes.
From the Stark County Health Department.
Good evening, everyone. Do I stand at the podium? Or?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Randy Rostowski. Thanks, Matt, for the introduction. I'm a unit manager at the Stark County Health Department in the Environmental Division. And each year we try to get out to all our townships, cities, villages, and introduce ourselves. We try to rotate some of our staff. That way it's not the same people that are at the same meeting year in, year out. So we like to come out and make an appearance, see if you guys have any questions. I do have an updated directory. In there we have nursing services, our support services, and our environmental, kind of an overview. Who has what areas, what we do, that sort of thing. So I can leave that behind for you guys. Are there any questions that you have for me in regards to what the health department and what services we offer, or any other questions that I might be able to answer, or at least take back to our staff to see if there's
I think it'd be helpful if you honestly just run down what you do.
what I do, or
Just the whole health department, yeah.
Okay, so we have 3 service areas. The first one is basically our administrative support services. They oversee like birth and death certificates, a lot of our community health educator, so they're out doing Safe Kids and a lot of those types of programs. That also included in that are like the accountant and all the logistics end of things. We have a nursing area, which anything from drug overdose to vaccinations. They, over the past couple of years with COVID and all that going on, they've been pretty busy with administering vaccinations and that sort of thing. But we do have clinics, women, infant, and children are WIC. A lot going on with nursing, and then environmental. What we, not necessarily in the city here, but water well, septic systems, food programs, schools, nuisances, you name it, we cover anything else that's basically out there that would be geared towards the prevention and spread of disease. That's kind of it in a nutshell.
Are you located off Whipple?
Yes, we're right down the road here, Park Center Plaza. So we're usually open 8 to 4:30, Monday through Fridays. And, you know, we have, like I said, the nursing is on the second floor. So, you know, if you want vaccinated or if you have questions or anything like that, services, it's all up on the second floor. Everything else on the first floor. So birth and death certificates, and we're right there with the building department. Kind of make it a one-stop shop. Well, North Canton has their own building department, but for the rest of the county, we do service kind of a nice little niche there.
I would like to say that, starting in February of, 2020, our country and our nation, you know, and the world went into a COVID-19 situation, pandemic.
Right.
I just want to say, from my point of view, a lot of the public doesn't know, but every Tuesday we are on conference calls with the Stark County Health Department, providing guidance and information for us to navigate through this pandemic. And without your assistance and the interpretation from the Center for Disease Control, information from the governor's office, and you disseminating that and helping us in our situation here in the county, I can't thank you enough for the leadership that your agency provided.
Well,
And
thank you guys as well. It was a community-based effort. We were finding out at the same time as the public when it came for the governor to release stuff. So, you know, we were kind of waiting and anticipating each week or each day really to see what was going to be happening and so forth. And
But
it
you
was
still
quite a
gave
learning
great
curve.
leadership
Oh,
for our county and for our city.
well, thank you. Yes, that's,
Take that back.
okay, I definitely will.
Okay.
Yes, yes, sir.
Thank you.
Any other questions? If you want, I can leave some business cards, and if you guys do think of something, just let me know. And then obviously here, you know, it's not kind of like a photo directory, so, you know, you get to see some of the faces that are out there in the community working for the health department.
We're permitted to reproduce that?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay.
If you need more, let me know.
Okay. Well, thank you.
So I will leave, just want me to leave it here on the.
We'll take it up here.
Okay.
Bring it on up.
There's that. And there's some cards.
Thank you again.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate it. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Randy.
Thank you, Randy. Okay. So moving on to recognition of the public. At this time, members of the public wishing to address City Council may do so. Each speaker will be given 5 minutes, and comments shall be limited to the legislative items appearing on tonight's agenda only. The rules for speaking will appear on both screens. Sorry, my eye is really bothering me today, going in and out, so I can read, but this will serve as a final warning for anyone in attendance, and any violation of the rules will result in ejection from the premises. Anyone wishing to speak tonight, feel free to approach the podium. Last call, go ahead.
Chuck Osborne, 307 Fairview Street, Southeast, North Canton, Ohio. I just wanted to pass on that I left some literature to the mayor regarding public speaks. Massachusetts Supreme Court has said that you can speak to any issue, so keep it.
That's not on the agenda.
No, and we're not Massachusetts. Shoot.
Mr. Kemp, could you please remove Chuck from the premises?
Really?
Thank you. You know the rules, Chuck. Every time, you know the rules. For how long?
You threaten to throw people out
Not threatening, I
before
am.
they even
Thank
open their
you.
mouth.
Again, thank you.
This is travesty.
Okay.
Brad,
Yes.
just close the door.
Uh-huh.
That's all you gotta do.
Just close the door.
Yep, just close it, flip this close.
You got it.
Students, this is how your North Carolina friends here need to get you.
Again,
Thank you.
You're gonna get a lawsuit.
I mean, at that point, is that on purpose? I mean, I believe it is. So I'll take note of that. I believe he was kicked out on purpose. I think he purposely ejected himself tonight. So, all right, anyone else wishing to address council? Okay, seeing none, we will move on to old business. Ben, would you please read the title of resolution 27-2023?
A resolution in support of the 2023 North Canton Community Survey to be conducted by the Office of City Council for the purpose of gaining input from the residents, businesses, and visitors of the city of North Canton on the conduct of North Canton city government and the issues facing the same.
Okay, John.
Okay, this is the second reading of, each one of you should have also gotten these questions. I'd like to make a amendment. I think option 3 is the best to use here. So I would like to change that to option 3. If anyone has any other questions or anything.
I think it certainly makes it a little more descriptive.
Yes.
You know, the average person may not know exactly what the West factory is, so.
and it doesn't lose a line for comments,
And it doesn't.
which is good.
Right.
So I'll make a motion that,
Oh, I wanted to make one comment. So the survey will be available by direct mail. It'll be online on the city website, probably on social media as well, and at the Main Street Festival, correct?
And if there's a market 7:20 this summer, I usually go to.
Okay,
Mhm.
yeah. All right, that's great.
2 public events.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, is it also worth noting, Ben and I had a conversation early this morning. Actually, I think we've had a couple conversations today. There's something had come up about having people who don't live in the city taking the survey. With the software we use, correct me if I'm wrong, you can filter that out. So it's not like somebody who doesn't live in the city is going to be corrupting, so to speak, our data. And you might want to get an opinion of what people from the outside see that they like in the city. Maybe there are people who work here and, you know, we should take their opinions to heart as well. Again, if we so choose, we can filter that information out and drill down to just the resident level. Did I encapsulate our conversation?
Yeah, I don't know that I would call it filtering out so much as the point of asking the question of do you live inside or out the city is to be able to run, for the Wall students here, cross tabulations on the
There you
data of, you know, is there a difference between what outside the city people feel versus inside the city? For some specific questions, we might filter them out. For instance, the question about a parks levy, we might filter out people who don't live in the city
And that was
because
my
they
point.
can't vote. So.
Yep.
yeah,
Okay.
because it's answered pretty good around question 1 and question 3.
For the past 2 cycles, people outside the city have been well below 10%.
Oh, that's good to know.
And I think sometimes, I mean, if we're looking at different revenue streams that come into the city, and would they like us to have more festivals? Would they like us to have different, I don't know, businesses open certain hours. I know that we very much value in Canton what outsiders
Right.
want. I mean, we're not an area that is divided by divisions. And so are you saying that you don't want to know what people crossing over the Everhard Railroad
Right.
is? Or people at the bridge, you know, on North Main? Everybody's going everywhere these days, and they look on a general area to see what's going on in town, and they want to know what people have. So,
And you bring a good,
yeah,
well,
half of our school district.
and you bring up a good point about residents, like specifically asking about festivals or whatnot. You know, if you've worked the Main Street Festival, I mean, you know just how many people, whether it's when I was campaigning 2 years ago or
Yeah.
talking about the park designs this year, you know just how many people do not live in the city that you come across. It's a
Yes.
lot, so.
Just add 2 quick points. I think you want, first of all, I think you want the broadest possible set of, you want your survey to include the broadest group of people for a
Mhm.
variety of reasons. But in the drill down, I think it's important that everyone understand that a Walsh College student is a resident,
Yes,
particularly if they're registered to vote and they pay taxes in
Yes.
town. That makes them a resident. Number 2 is that many seniors here in town own a home, but they're registered to vote in Florida. Do we necessarily want to exclude that individual's perspective from a survey because now they've got another community to
Mhm.
compare to ours? And I would argue, no, we really want to include that sort of thing.
Sure.
So goes to the point of, let's broaden this out.
Yeah.
In my view, let's get as many ideas as we can. I think that's one of the values, even though it's short line, comments,
Yeah.
Mhm.
you know, somebody just may trigger an initiative based upon, 2 sentences.
I think it's important that we do include them, to your point, Daryl, that finding out why those individuals outside the city are coming
Yeah.
into the city. What businesses do they want? What parks are they attending? Where are they spending their money? So that we can gauge that. I mean, we can,
Yep.
as Ben stated, we can filter those results and look at what's important
Right.
and weight them accordingly.
Okay,
Mhm.
in spot on, Dave, I think your question's spot on. One of the threads of conversation in this room, particularly as it's circulated around the master plan and some of the other things we do, is we want a community that's attractive to young people who are starting families.
Mhm.
Why don't want to ask them, what is it that you like?
Yeah.
Do you want a house on Backville Southwest, or do you want something new? What is it that would appeal to you? It's not here, but the point is that we should be asking them.
Are you referring to Walsh students and?
Yeah, well, we'll keep them.
Yeah.
Well, we'll keep them.
I mean,
Yes.
I agree, and a lot of
what
those-
students do we have?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, and a lot of those students, though, I mean, they're going to end up staying. You were a perfect example of that. And you pay our income tax. Sometimes that's more than people's property tax that they pay.
Yep.
So I do think we want that. And we have an older population. So we do need that populace of some of the Walsh students to say, what's it going to do to keep you here?
Sure.
To raise a family.
Yep. But above all, I think, great survey, so.
Christina, this is all your fault. You asked us to amend this question. Here we are.
You know what? I'm saving so many calls on what is the West factor. So the honest.
Direct them all to John, right?
And give us a survey
Yeah.
for now.
So I think we have a motion,
Yeah.
do we not, to amend the survey? Do we need to read it first?
I think we need a more specific. note.
Yes.
All right, I will make a motion that for question 20, that in its amended form read, in your opinion, should the city encourage the red brick Hoover factory's owner to tear it down? Yes, no, or no opinion. That's the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, can I have a motion and a second to adopt the second reading of resolution 27/2023 as amended?
The vote goes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, moving on.
Thank you, Christina.
Ben, would you please read the title of ordinance 31-2020?
An ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of North Canton to enter into an amended and restated sidewalk performance bond between the city and McKinley Applegrove Limited for the Sanctuary Phase 3 development as shown on the plat recorded in instrument number 201607210028127 of the Stark County Records.
Okay, Street and Alley, that's me. This is very basic. It's entering into the sidewalk performance bond. We discussed this in committee last week, and there's no changes, no additional information. Any questions, comments? Move that we adopt.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I think
Second.
we needed a
Second.
second.
Second, I'll second.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, moving on to department reports. Patrick.
This past weekend, the administrative, we concluded a three-part series on development of our leadership team that was sponsored through Giant personnel development company, self-awareness analysis, what kind of person you are, how do you communicate with people. So we took all of our individuals who were superintendents or operations managers to go through that program, and we completed that this Saturday. That was all done on mandatory, but nobody got paid any overtime for it or anything like that. It was order from on high. We think that this was very important and for our future development for those, and particularly the younger folks that are still, cutting their teeth here and might have another 25, 30 years before they retire. It's important that we know how to manage people and how to talk with people and that kind of thing. And then the other part of the weekend, I spent driving around the city looking at storm damage. So there were quite a number of trees that were uprooted or felled, large branches, mostly in Ward 2. So I think we only had one that was potentially blocking the road that we had to deal with, and the rest is in private property. We'll give those private property owners ample time to have those limbs and trees cleared, but at some point down the road, that cannot remain. It just stays there. So our code enforcement department is made aware of all the locations that we've inventoried, and then we'll be following that up as time goes on. That's my report.
Thanks. Patrick, did we have many phone calls about flooding or anything of that nature?
No.
There wasn't really a lot.
No, just wind.
Mayor Walder.
Yes, thank you, President Storia. I want to thank again Father Nick for the invitation and our visit from our Stark County Health Department, our visitors and our students in the audience tonight. Unbeknownst to Walsh students coming here, I did have a comment about Walsh University I'd like to share. Walsh has welcomed students from all over the world, and they've offered over 70 majors and programs, just to mention a few: pre-engineering, legal studies, cybersecurity, nursing, business management, physical therapy, museum studies, and theology. And they also offer an array of organizations. They are sanctioned NCAA Division II for intercollegiate athletics. And they also tailor their programs to fit each student's unique and individual interests. I want to bring to everyone's attention, I had the opportunity to attend the International Dinner and Cultural Festival that was held on March 25th at Walsh University. And it's incredible when you think that they have a diverse community for their international students. 130 students from over 40 countries are calling Walsh University their home. And I think one way to showcase Walsh's international students was the International Dinner and Cultural Festival that was held, as I said, March the 25th. I especially want to thank Christy Campbell, Director of International Student Services, her staff, and the Walsh students who participated in bringing international students, their local families, organizations, alumni, and communities together to encourage community engagement through that international dinner. I would say pay attention till next year, because it really is a very enjoyable learning experience. The students went out of their way to really bring their to enhance their cultural differences, but also what they have in similarity. So I wanted to say that to our Walsh University. I also have two proclamations I'd like to share with council tonight. And this first one will be in regards to Ohio Governor Mike DeWine announced March the 15th that an additional $20 million would be dedicated to supporting the recruitment and wellness needs of Ohio's first responders for several Ohio counties. That announcement brings the total amount of funding for the Ohio First Responder Recruitment, Retention, and Resilience Program to $95 million, according to a news release that was recently presented. So I have before me, I'd like to share, is a mayor's proclamation for the city of North Canton, Ohio, recognizing First Responder Wellness Week, March 27th through the 31st, 2023. Whereas our first responders, including law enforcement officers, firefighters, emergency medical services, EMS personnel, 911 dispatchers, correctional officers, and members of other organizations in the public sector come together to protect and aid our community in the event of an emergency. And first responders risk their lives and safety every day in the performance of their duties to protect our citizens. And first responders are tasked with handling dangerous and complicated situations. And nationwide, law enforcement officers will go through an average of 188 critical incidents throughout the course of their career. And first responders often experience stress that has real physical impacts, including cardiac issues, diabetes, obesity, and sleep issues. And first responders are up to 25 to 6 times higher risk for developing post-traumatic stress disorder when compared to individuals without such experiences. And first responder wellness includes management of issues, including but not limited to sleep, fitness, nutrition, fatigue, anger management, post-traumatic stress, and loss. And we recognize the integral role first responders play in our communities and the benefits derived from their hard work, commitment, sacrifice, and unhesitating dedication. And whereas research shows that fostering a strong wellness culture inside first responder agencies enhances relations with the community they serve. The City of North Canton supports the mission of the Ohio Department of Public Safety's Office of First Responder Wellness to encourage self-care and mental wellness for Ohio's first responders, and especially for the first responders of this community, who are truly public servants who put their well-being of the well-being of others in front of themselves. Now therefore be it proclaimed, I, Stephen B. Wilder, Mayor for the City of North Canton, do hereby recognize the week of March 27 through 31, 2023 as First Responder Wellness Week, and urge residents of North Canton to participate and support local, state, or national programs and activities in support of this special observance. Proclaim this day, 27th day of March, 2023, by order of the Mayor. The second proclamation I want to read to council is this. It's a proclamation, Vietnam War Veterans Day, scheduled for March 29, 2023. Whereas as we honor all the men and women who served in our nation's armed forces throughout history, North Canton is proud to join the national commemoration of Vietnam War Veterans Day. But this conflict defined an entire generation of Americans, and numerous brave men and women served during the conflict, including 6 North Canton servicemen killed in action. And whereas as citizens of the city of North Canton, we must never forget the pain and suffering that lingers today for the men and women who fought with honor and distinction in the name of freedom and democracy for all. Whereas we remember the men and women who so honorably served during more than a decade of fighting in challenging terrains of Southeast Asia, where they faced extraordinary and unprecedented dangers, we will never forget their sacrifice, and we value their continued service to their fellow veterans today, as they embody the motto of the Vietnam Veterans of America. Never again will one generation of veterans abandon another. And since their return, these veterans have contributed tremendously to their communities, our community, the state of Ohio, and our nation. They have displayed unparalleled support for those currently serving by providing welcoming celebration for those returning and honors to those who have fallen. And whereas through this commemoration, the city of North Canton joined the Department of Military and Veterans Affairs and Office of Veterans Affairs with all citizens of the city, state, and nation to honor and remember our Vietnam veterans and their families for their courage, sacrifice, and valor. Therefore, I, Stephen B. Wilder, Mayor for the City of North Canton, do hereby proclaim March 29, 2023 as Vietnam War Veterans Day. I encourage all citizens to participate in activities and programs that bestow honor and commendation on American heroes past and present, given under my hand, the City of North Canton, on this 27th day of March 2023. Thank you for allowing me, or indulging me the time to share these two proclamations for our community for this coming week.
Thank you.
I don't have anything further. Thank you.
Jim, finance.
So, no financial report, but we'll have a quarterly in May. So I also want to remind income tax is due April 18th. File through Rita online. Or, there are some packaging pickups utility that's in City Hall. We have the new payment processor come in for our utility billing, along with the new utility billing software. We will have a insert flyer talking about the changes and what's not changing for the payment processor for all the utility customers in the May bill. So that'll be coming, it'll be a separate flyer. And yeah, we got pushed back a little bit. We were supposed to be starting April 8th with the new utility billing software, but now it's May 8th. So like I said, that the bill for May will have the flyer in there and what's changing, what's not changing.
Thank you.
It's all right. Thank you. Appreciate it. So, Clerk Jenny.
You're hearing from your assistant. So the clerk's office, something that we've been working on are promotional exams. And our goal with this is to have everything completed on our end by the end of the month.
For the fire department. Promotional exams for the fire department.
Yeah.
Are this year.
What then?
For the fire department. The promotional exams for the fire department are this year.
Okay. Sounds good. Ben, would you like to report?
So I'll just add that nice to see Walsh students here. I myself am a Walsh alumni, as is Ginny. So council's office strongly represents. Say hi to Dr. Taylor. He was my thesis about it. That's all.
Thank you. All right, start with Ward 1, Jamie.
All right, thank you. Actually, I'm going to be very short tonight. I want to thank Ben and then also Tracy in the mayor's office for writing down some information for me this morning for constituents. So thank you guys very, very much. The other thing is if I have my stories correct, it's somebody's birthday today.
Someone old.
Someone very, no, excuse me, I'm not going to say that. I got in trouble last time I said that. No. I would like to wish a happy birthday to my colleague, Daryl Revolt. So.
Happy birthday, Daryl.
And that's under report.
This evening, the travesty is that I've been singled out for this age discrimination.
Oh, geez, I'm sorry.
Lawsuit to come.
Yes.
I think it's bad. This is the best thing you had to do.
me just tell you this, I was with 4 under 5 this weekend.
Ah,
I was on the bird from Atlanta this morning. And I gotta tell you, I'm suffering from a little post-traumatic stress.
Okay.
So, this isn't all bad.
right,
All right.
right. Sorry, I have to go.
Yeah. So,
Where to, David?
So for personnel and safety, congratulations goes out to Elena Berry and for Joseph Gresser. Mayor Wilder swore in both of them this past week. They're part-time members to the fire department. Firefighter and paramedic Elena Berry and firefighter EMT Joseph Gresser. So welcome them to the fire department. I think residents in the past have stated many, many times how important those departments are and how well they are staffed. So congratulations to them for joining that. On the safety side, after the storms this past week, I just asked residents to maybe step out on the curb and check to see if your drains, the curb drains are blocked or clogged. There's a lot of debris out there.
Good idea.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Let's go, Stephanie, Ward 3.
Okay. I had sent Matt and I don't know if I sent it to anyone else. And maybe, I don't know if I sent it to you, but I had been receiving emails regarding our deer population again. And I was walking in the back of Monticello and it was a long video because I did count 26 in one area. Ben had given me some research from other areas, but I mean, this is before flower season, garden season, so I just can't imagine. And in all my years, I've never seen that many together. So I don't know if it's something that we really do need to start looking at, but it's certainly, I know that we all get a lot of complaints. I know we're in an area where, people quote a lot of other cities. They bring information from other places, and we have to do what we have to do here. But it may be time, I don't know. I know there's like a precedent of when you involve wildlife, the Department of Wildlife. I don't know what constitutes that. I don't know if it's 26, 28, 30, is it 50? I don't know. But there were a lot. And I know that whole area they're going to start calling very soon. When their flowers go in, and they've spent hundreds of dollars on their flowers, and it's just safety. I mean, I saw another deer on, I guess it was 55th, and, it was on the side of the road, and I was coming home the other night, and within 10 feet, and they're on Main, one was on Main the other day. So it's just something I think we do have to keep thinking about and going over. I know it was our largest population of people that came to the meeting the one time when we talked about it. I think we had cats and deer on our, do you remember that? But I'm thinking about safety too. So if you have thoughts, let me know. That's it.
It's a problem. It is, but I'm not sure what we can do. I mean, I've been following the issues for you saw the articles.
I know.
An entire database of different things from preventing them from giving birth via vaccinations or feed and all this stuff, but it's very, very expensive. We can't hunt them because there's not enough property in a landlocked area. So, Daryl, you made the comment before.
And when we've talked before, we're not going to put the traps out.
Right,
We're not going to do the bow and arrow, but
But there's just as many people who love them than hate them.
Oh, yeah. Right.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
That's the problem.
But it really has to become, I guess, about safety then.
Yeah,
And so if we're finding more people, their cars are being hit, or they're hitting them, then it's an issue.
Maybe the thing to do is this, is have the Ohio Department of Natural Resources enter the discussion with us regarding an aerial survey. Typically, what ODNR does in terms of responding to the community at some point is they will fly an aircraft over the community with an infrared camera, and they will determine whether the population rises to the point that it requires
Attention.
Yeah. The rub, as everyone has mentioned, is cull is a euphemism for kill.
Yeah.
And there are only two ways. There's really only one safe way in the city of North Canton to kill deer, and that is through trap and bolt. And it is exactly what it sounds like. Trap them, knock them down, and fold into their. And, you know, my yard is denuded by deer. I've got a dozen. The bucks are having a great time. I'm sure we're gonna have fawns galore this spring. But they've just eaten most of the vegetation out of my yard. And it's the same for everybody else on the street.
Yeah.
So the question is, has that depredation, vegetation depredation, reached the travesty level?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. But again, I think it just depends on people's appetite for, if you're gonna control them, they have to be killed.
Do they ever haul them away?
They do not. They can't be transported for a couple of reasons. The first is
Put them to sleep.
it's very stressful upon the deer itself. The second is deer spread disease from ticks to other sorts of bacteria. And they don't want to be spreading illness
In other parts.
of Ohio.
Yeah.
So it's a tough call.
And there's already warnings because we didn't have a very cold winter.
That's correct.
So people are already, I had a friend just the other day at emergency room because of tick. So they're already warning us of that.
Yeah.
So,
Anyway,
but I just wanted to bring it up. I've had a number of calls and then just seeing that was truly the most I've seen.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
I've had a dozen. We had a dozen out in the yard about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
One morning, enjoying the early morning sunshine
Yeah.
and my ground cover.
Yeah. That's all.
I'd like to make a comment. So, yes, I have deer come through my yard. Yes, they eat stuff. And, you know, at some point, we just have to reach a level that with some species, we have to just coexist. That's just it. We've studied the ODNR stuff. We've been in talks with those people on this council, the previous council, you know, I suppose it bears repeating since it periodically resurfaces. You know, to have somebody from ODNR fly over our community at night and take infrared images will not yield a result. Because the bottom line is that other communities up north that do call it have the area to call in, but they have the data which supports it on the surface, which is vehicular accidents. We don't have that level of vehicular accident with deer in our community. As a result, it doesn't even make sense to waste the resources to come in and look at that. If you treat, you know, I will give this as anecdotal perhaps, but I think it's more evidentiary. We used to have, in fact, I have it on my phone. I still have the picture. You know, it's a herd of 17 deer up at the former Kmart property, right? There all the time. You know why they were there? Wasn't, in my opinion, it wasn't because of the forest. It was because people were driving around behind the Kmart building for years and putting out salt blocks, corn, apples, everything they could think of to feed the deer. They're not dumb. They go where the food is.
Yep.
When we bought the Kmart building and occupied it for the farmer's market for safety, we didn't want people driving around behind the building for their safety. It had nothing to do with the deer. The byproduct of that was people couldn't get back there and feed the deer. You know where the deer are? They left. They went away. They weren't these wild speculative rumors on social media that we transported them out, that we...
You did.
That we actually cook off their...
Yeah.
You know, I get emails from people claiming that the geese at Price Parker were actually robots from the Communist Party. I mean, there's just crazy people out there that just can't accept it. But the bottom line is this, is that, you know, a lot of times if you look around where the deer are coming from, you'll probably find somebody that's putting food out for the deer.
To your point,
Feeding them. And
Patrick.
we've had one person, you know, that I went out and looked at and that they complained that the deer were eating their flowers. but they were dumping 30-pound bags of bird seed on their patio, and the deer come in, they
Yeah.
eat that too.
Yeah, they will.
So, I mean, sometimes it just takes a little common sense here. But the bottom line is that, where we can do something, be effective without harming the animal. And that we started this program last week at Price Park with the geese. We are discouraging them from choosing our locale. And that's not, we're doing it in a way that harasses them but doesn't harm them. And, it's an ongoing program that we will have to do likely forever. As long as that body of water is there, that's going to be a cost of doing business that we're going to have. Whatever we do, if there ever is a way to effectively deal with the deer, you're basically chasing them to another community. And when you stop, they'll be back. Just as when we stop at Price Park, the geese will come back.
Thank you. Okay, Ward 4, John?
Well, I'll challenge Ward 4 to Ward 3. I think we have more deer in Ward 4.
You have more than 26.
Well, there's probably 26 living at Arrowhead.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have a lot of deer. Walking through the neighborhood, I walked a little bit today. I think going with David, what he said about the sewers, cleaning up and around the sewers and gutters, we could maybe put it in a bulletin or maybe in the utility bills, sweeping it out. Someone saw a guy putting a bag of grass down the gutters,
That should be reported to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
That should be reported so that I can effectively address that.
I didn't see it, but
I'd like to speak.
those are things out there. I saw a guy blowing his grass out into the street, and I said, "What are you doing?" "Well, who are you?" So I said, "I'm Councilman Ord here in the 4th Ward." "You're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to do that." He goes, "Really?" I go, "Yeah, really." So he blew it back. I stayed while watching him blow it back into his yard. But if we could do something like that, because we're only one, I think we have maybe one street sweeper. We can't be everywhere. And the gutters, this is a windy year. I've never seen it as windy as it has been. Some of the gutters really do need cleaned out and stuff. And I know it's the city's job, but we can't keep up on it. If we ask our people, help us help you, some type of something of that nature would be, I think, help us out a little bit.
Not just to interrupt your report, please continue, but to address that point, yes, we are in the process of putting together our first newsletter. It's one of the things the council wanted us to do, printed, not part of the water bill, but separate kind of thing that goes out. That is one of the subjects in that we're talking about. And to your credit, I appreciate you bringing that up. It is also a municipal ordinance that you are required to maintain the curb and gutter in front of your property. We try to assist, but somehow over the years it turned into people not doing it at all. And the city should run that thing, 24/7. We can't.
People, I don't even think realize it is their responsibility.
But yes,
So
thank
we
you
have
for
to
that.
educate them a little bit. And then I see other communities out there doing a lot of, am I gonna terminology wrong, but hot patch on our roads? Where they're putting some blacktop down or something on some of that. Do we do that at all?
Well, to fill potholes, it's usually a cold patch.
A cold patch, yeah.
Yeah, and we do have our process. I turned one in just earlier at the council before it started. One of you had alerted me to a new hole, and I communicated to the superintendent, and that'll be fixed first thing in the morning. So we're going around and we're doing that as we find them.
That's all I got to report. Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you.
Sean, birthday boy, Daryl.
You forgot what you're gonna say, huh?
Want us to sing?
Did you bring a cake?
Yeah, you could have brought cookies.
Just a couple quick things. As I indicated, thank you. I was down in Brookhaven, Georgia this last weekend.
Mhm.
And Brookhaven is, as you've heard me often say, is undergoing the kind of urban redevelopment that many of us envision. It has been absolutely spectacular to watch single-family homes, multifamily, mixed use spring up to provide this very active, very desirable type of urban living. And I think it's a good case, it's a good reminder, and there are other examples closer to home, that communities that are looking to the future can get there with a little bit of planning and encouragement of investment and some wise zoning on their part. And so I would certainly encourage all of us to, again, keep our focus on where we want to see the community go down the road, because I think it's, as we've outlined a number of occasions, it's a good matrix for our activities. I think the other thing tonight is this, and I don't want to belabor the point. Mr. Osborne called his removal a travesty. The simple fact of the matter is we have a set of rules here. The rules are announced before every meeting. In 10 days, I believe it is, 13 days, 14 days, April 10th, will be our next open topic mic. Well, what I heard tonight, in violation of the rules, could have been presented, frankly, at the open topic mic. It's unfortunate that we have a small number of people who simply cannot abide by our rules. Just that simple. And I think it's a reminder that when we have people who don't want to abide by the rules, they destroy the fabric of government. Because it leads from one behavior to another, and another, and another. And if you need an example, simply look at our good friend, Mr. Householder. Clearly violated the laws of the state of Ohio, and is now violated federal law, and is now looking at a 20-year sentence. But it all started somewhere. It starts with a cavalier disregard for regulations, the rules, and law, rule of law. Got tonight. And I might add, Ohio is not Massachusetts. Let's not pretend that it is.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Christina?
All right. This has been interesting tonight. So lots going on in parks. We have Dogwood pool passes going on sale April 4th. We have Arrowhead pool passes on sale now. Catherine let me know that we have an Arrowhead open house weekend coming up, April 29th to 30th from 12 to 2 p.m. each day. And she sent me this list. I'm going to read it to you. We have renovated the pool area, concession stand, new outdoor bar, new outdoor dining with umbrella tables, and we've remodeled the women's changing room, showers, and restrooms. The clubhouse renovations we have a new grill room bar, outdoor dining patio, and new landscaping, improved parking lot, and new signage. So, if you have not been, what were you going to say? Nothing? Okay. So, if you have not been out to see these changes, and a lot of them you have not yet because haven't been open yet, come out April 29th and 30th and check those out. There will also be discounts on pool passes, specials going on. Do you want to say something before I move on to the next thing? Okay.
I had an opportunity to stroll through the clubhouse last week. Had a chance to look at the new bar, the grill room. It looks absolutely fantastic. I might say that it complements the pickleball courts that were installed last year. But I think here's the point. think about where we were 5 years ago with this facility. How many times have we heard from people who have had an event at Arrowhead who expressed great satisfaction with the quality of the food and the quality of the service at the facility? I mean, the fact of the matter is the administration has managed to turn this thing around in a very spectacular way. It really looks good, to your point.
Yep.
And it's and I'll tell you, I'm down there as part of my walking route. And there's a city truck down there a lot. And it reflects the interaction between the municipality and our contractors, something that we did not have in the past, that we have today. And I would argue that somebody in this room, probably wearing a purple shirt, meets with that contractor on a regular basis to assure that our objectives are met. No hands-off, benign neglect. Active management, problems have been cleaned up, and it really now is, I think, a community asset. I think we just had regional planning out there, Mr. Diorio.
I think the mayor was gonna talk.
Then I'm not gonna take your thunder. Go ahead.
Well, I'll let Christina finish her report.
Okay, but that's it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I have other things unrelated to Arrowhead. So the Main Street Festival planning is underway. It's going Main Street Festival planning. I've been meeting with the Chamber of Commerce on that. That event will be August 12th this year, from 10 until 8, and then then there will be an after party up near Pavs with a Prince cover band.
Ooh.
So that's Prince.
We're gonna party like it's 1999.
We're gonna party like it's 1999 in 2023. So that's exciting, and I'm excited about the new staff of the chamber. Seems to be going well. They seem smart, very motivated, experienced.
Very nice.
So that's exciting. Also, I was going to mention the goose control dogs, but Patrick really did a nice job of summarizing that. But we are contracting with the new company for geese control. They have remote control boats and dogs. Again, non-harmful, just encouraging them to go somewhere else. So hopefully that will address one of these ongoing complaints that we have about the goose waste in Price Park. Then finally, April 22nd from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., the library is hosting a recycle fair for Earth Day, but we do partner with the city on that. So there will be a paper shredding truck in the City Hall parking lot, and the North Canton Police Department sponsors that because of identification theft. Then there's also going to be a Goodwill truck and an e-cycle truck over behind St. Paul's. Cool. So this is our, 5th or 6th year doing this event, and the community always comes out and looks forward to it. But because of the school construction going on behind the library, we're kind of shifting, and we did the same thing last year. But if you get any questions about that, because the city's logo is on all of that as a partner in that program. And that's all.
All right, thanks. Mayor, you wanted to add something?
If I may, I have 3 things just before closing.
I will yield some time to that. Come on.
May I go? Okay, thank you. No, really, once again, we are sensitive to the deer issue in the city. But we also have to remember too, we do have several habitats that still are conducive for them. When you think about the Hoover Trail and the park over there, and then we do have some area when you get up by Arrowhead in those areas up there, and also up here a little bit off of Apple Grove near behind Walters. We have some wooded areas, and they find a way to live there. But they've also, like a number of animals that I've seen in my career, they have become urbanized.
Yeah.
Okay, and somehow they find a way to eat our gardens up and in our yards and things. And how do we best manage that? Well, again, I know there's a number of plants that are not conducing to being edible, things like that. But we don't always have that luxury to do that. But And also with the construction that's going on, there's displacement. Animals get displaced with the construction that's going on, not only here in North Canton, but even on our perimeter. And that could, influence deer coming and going. And of course, it doesn't help when our residents are feeding the deer population. As a footnote, prior to the cleaning of the property at Kmart, I had called ODNR to come down. And they had to euthanize 2 or 3 of the deer because of inbreeding or issues of malnutrition where they had mange on their coat or on their skin. Their hooves had actually turned under, and so they euthanized them then. At the same time, someone came up and put a pumpkin inside the fence while the ODNR agent officer was there, instructed them, please, our science sake, don't feed the deer. But I'm not going to be leaders with that anymore. We will continue to be observant as best as we can. The Stark County Regional Planning Commission did have their annual dinner at the Arrowhead. We attended. We had a city table, and it was we had nothing but great compliments on the improvements there, and they're excited about the further improvements that will be going forward in and around the Arrowhead. And I think it necessitates one final comment. On free speech in public meetings. And I'm going to close my comments with this. Please bear with me. Government officials may not silence speech because a citizen criticizes them. Public bodies like this council can limit their meetings to specified subject matters. Elected officials have less protection at times from defamatory statements or remarks from the public. But meetings must be in order of time, place, and manner, which with clearly defined rules of conduct. This body has that in place. Just because something is called a public forum, public comment, or recognition of visitors, doesn't guarantee a person unrestricted freedom to utter whatever is on his or her mind. Public bodies, this council, can limit their meetings to specified subject matters, as has been enacted. Also, governments may impose reasonable time, place, and manner restrictions on speech as long as those restrictions are content neutral and are narrowly tailored to serve a significant government interest. And time, place, and manner has been established by the Supreme Court. So I just wanted to give a little bit of my point of view as I see what happens here in the orderly progress of the council. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, my turn. Wanted to thank Chief Kemp for taking care of the situation we had. I want to thank Father Nick for the prayer and Randy Ruskowski, whose name I pronounced correctly, for coming and giving the presentation. There is an open house for the school. I mentioned this last week, and the date officially is April 3rd, and it's from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. So you'll be able to see Claremont, Portage, and Greentown. Portage Building and the ECC one last time before they're not going to be in use anymore. So that's April 3rd. So
you can choose to go tour the schools or come to the council meeting.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So, don't have anything else. I don't think everything else I think we've discussed. Just a reminder to support local if you can. Final call for a new business. That's right. Okay, no new business. And the upcoming calendar, April 3rd will be a committee of the whole. April 10th will be a regular city council meeting with open topic discussion. April 17th will be committee of the whole, and April 24th will be the regular city council. Any questions or comments? I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Topics for next. Committee.